I walked home with Janine that afternoon. Our house was a block further down the road, so it was nothing unusual. I walked past her house every day on the way home from school, but this was the day she'd chosen for me to stop in. "We can do some homework together, or something," she said. I liked the sound of it. Who wouldn't? I knew she'd planned this whole thing. I figured it out later. I came in the house, and she told me her mother wasn't going to be home for at least 3 hours. She walked from the living room straight to her bedroom, door wide open, dumped her backpack on the floor, and called me to come in from where I was nervously standing outside. "Come on in, it's okay. There's no one here." I was hardly going to argue. On her bed were some clothes. I couldn't help staring at the panties laid out. After all, I was just an awkward teenager, and I couldn't help myself. Beside them were some nylons, a sports bra, and a skirt and blouse. I tried to pull my eyes away, but it was hopeless. "What's the matter?" she said. "Never seen a girl's clothes before?" "I'm sorry," I said. "Oh, don't be silly, it's okay. It's just when you grow up with 2 brothers, you get kind of used to being looked at." Her 2 brothers were now away at college. They'd left a year ago, and I only ever saw them in town these days. "I don't have a sister," I said awkwardly. "It's okay. Why don't you touch them?" she said, holding out the nylons and the panties. "I really don't mind." I shyly took the clothes in my hands, shifting from foot to foot as I stood there. "For goodness sake, sit down, relax." I sat on the edge of the bed and fingered the clothes. I ran my hands over the blouse, feeling how soft and silky it was. I imagined Janine's small but perky breasts under the fabric. "I've got an idea. Why don't we play a game?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "Just for a joke. Why don't you put on the nylons? Why don't you try them?" "Well, that's a bit weird," I said, and scoffed at the idea. "I'd like you to. Just for me." I looked nervously at her. It wasn't too late. I could just leave. "It gets me excited," she said. Then, looking away, she added, "Actually, it gets me really turned on." "But if you don't want to..." "No," I said, "I'll do it." "Okay. Just take your pants off and try them." I pulled down my pants and she glanced at my boxers. Awkwardly, I took one of the white nylons and after kicking off my socks started to pull it on. "No," she said, "you'll ladder it. Let me show you." She gathered the stocking and pressed it up my leg. She worked it to the top of my thigh. I could feel her fingers close to my groin and I began to harden. "Let me do the other one," I said, trying to hide my embarrassment. "Okay, but I want to see you in my shoes." "Why?" I asked, sounding a little petulant. "I told you. I like it." I pulled the nylon up and then stood as she went to her closet. She brought a couple of pairs of shoes, but they were all too small. "Oh, wait a moment," she said. She hurried out and I heard her rummaging in the room next door. She returned a moment later and brought with her a pair of strappy heels. "Try these," she said firmly. "They're my mother's." I slipped them on, and to my surprise, they fitted perfectly. I stood there and even looked in the mirror. It was surprising how good I looked. They made my calf muscles burn a little as I stood, but I liked the look of it. "Not bad," she said, almost under her breath. It was as though she were talking to herself. "But it looks a bit silly with the sweater and boxers. How about you put on my blouse and a skirt, just for a laugh?" I could see how Janine was enjoying this. Her face was a little flushed, and I saw the way she stared at me. "It's a bit weird, Janine," I said. She settled back on the bed and touched the nylons, stroking them, stroking me. The feeling was electric. "But I like it," she muttered. "All right," I said reluctantly. I took off my sweater and undershirt and tried the blouse. It was too small, but a moment later she had found something similar, as well as a little skirt, in her mother's wardrobe, and returned and held the items out. I took them with reluctance, but as I watched the excitement on her face grow, I realized there was something else here. There was hunger, and I was feeding it. Janine was excited, and I was part of that. "You look beautiful," she said softly. "You like it, don't you?" I stared at the floor. "Yes," I replied. "I do."